Hello, everybody. It's Marty Hosking, Keller Williams, Greater Omaha, and we're back interrupting our regular series, our new regular series of different areas of the city that I love and places I love in those areas. We're going to take a little step back right now on a topic that's on a lot of people's minds when you're actually involved in the sale of a property. You know, how much does it cost to sell your house? So let me just tell you a story first. Today we had two closings. We had one house that I was helping someone sell, and the other was a house that I was helping those same people buy. So it really was a way to illustrate side by side, what are the costs on either side of the deal. There are, especially if there's a loan involved, there are going to be more closing costs aside from the commission with the selling of a house. There's going to be more closing costs on the buying side. But on the selling side, it's important to understand what are those costs. The major part of the cost, of course, is the amount of money that you pay the brokerage to sell your house. And remember, I say that specifically, not the money you pay your agent, because in all cases, there is the money must go through the broker. And a couple of things to keep in mind about that. And again, and these are people that I've worked with today that have quite a bit of experience, selling and buying houses. And still really wasn't super clear, what were those costs on that closing statement before we actually closed. And so the commission, as it's called, is the largest part of the cost of selling your house, for sure. That money, a lot of people are not aware that money actually is used to pay, part of it is used to pay the buyer agent that brings the buyer. And just for those of you who think you can avoid the cost altogether by selling your home by yourself, a home for sale by owner, you're still going to have to take a chunk of that and give it to the agent that brings a buyer, regardless of whether you have an agent to help you sell the house. So that's kind of an interesting thing people don't often think about. But a large part of that, if I'm the listing agent, a large part of that, my brokerage is going to pay a large part of that to the buying broker. And then that gets passed down to the agent. Another thing, and again, the reason I say pass down to the agent is because remember that the brokerages get paid. The individual agents have a relationship with the broker or the brokerage, their office, as to how much of every sale they're going to actually get is in the form of compensation. And so that can vary by the relationships that they have with their broker. That can be, I've heard it as low as 50%. I've heard as high as 100%. It really does depend on the relationship they have with the brokerage and the kind of history they have there and the agreements that they've already made with them. So there is a kind of a misunderstanding that's just a big chunk that goes to the listing agent. Not to mention the overhead costs that are involved that need to be paid as well. So when you understand it that way, it makes a little more sense. But one of the things that I would want to encourage people to understand is that as far as the commission is concerned, it is a regulated factor or a factor that you can know clearly, depending on the price of the house, what it's going to be. But then there's the trick right there. What is going to be the final price of the house? And that's where you can negotiate all you want about the commission, but really that fee is not so much important as how the house is going to be sold and how well it's going to be sold. And that's where there can be major swings in savings or loss by not selling it right, by not negotiating it right. And that's kind of where, if as a professional, that's where I step in and say, let me show you where we can actually focus on what is the most important thing. Is that's how much money you're going to get out of the sale. In the end, that's what matters, isn't it? And so in that case, then it's going to matter how I do it and what my track record is on that. So make sure you're asking your agent what their track record is, list price to sales price. The average right now in Omaha is 99%. Currently, my average is 103.5. So ask your agent, what is your average list price to sales price? Because 4% or 3% difference right there, that blows out of the water any kind of negotiation or worry or splitting hairs about how much the fee is going to be. It really does matter. Put your focus where it matters in getting that house ready. And You can look at some of my previous videos and see some of the tips we have about getting the house ready and about doing it right. And then finally, and it's up to me and it's up to the broker or the agent to really negotiate it well. And that's where the magic happens. And that's where I can make up a big difference for you on that end. So maybe on a next video or a next little chat, we could talk about what are some of the tricks I use to make sure I get that extra money out of there. But just bear in mind that your biggest closing cost is going to be the commission. And then the other ones that I'm sure you're aware of, but just to remind you, would be the other one is you remember you're going to pay off your loan. So if you have a loan against the house, the money that you get from the sale is going to go to take care of that, to take care of the brokerage. And then you're going to take care of any taxes that are still owed on the property that may not have been paid. And any taxes, any taxes that have not been paid. And then you're also going to cover paying the title company to bring the deal together. It's usually around $250. You're going to pay for, at least in Nebraska, you're going to pay for half of the title insurance policy for the buyer. So that's something to be calculated. And then you're also going to pay a sales tax. And so those things are what add up to, aside from if you take the loan payment off and the commission off, those are going to add up to around, use a rule of thumb of about 2%. So if you have any more questions about this, I'd love to talk to you more in depth about this, have a cup of coffee and really go over this in more detail. And we'll talk a little bit about more like negotiating stuff and what can make a big difference other than the commission in a broadcast coming up here pretty soon. But next one is going to be a neighborhood. So get ready. We're going to have some fun in another neighborhood next time. So thanks for joining me. Bye.